It's the Security Weekly News. It's episode 515. Yeah, that number seems auspicious for some reason, but I don't know why. It's Friday, the 26th of September, 2025. Welcome to the show. We've got Riker's Curse, River City, EDR-Freeze, MCP, WordPress, GitHub, Josh Marpet, and more on this edition of the Security Weekly News.
This is a Security Weekly production for security professionals by security professionals. Please visit securityweekly.com/subscribe to subscribe to all the shows on our network.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
It's the show that keeps you up to date on the latest security news twice a week. Your trusted source for accurate security information and expert analysis. It's time for the Security Weekly News. Ransomware, supply chain attacks, 0 days, cyber threats don't wait, and neither should your defenses. With ThreatLocker, you're not just reacting to threats, you're stopping them before they start. Our Zero Trust endpoint protection locks down your environment with pinpoint control over what's allowed to run and what's not. No guesswork, no blind spots, just proactive, built-for-now security that keeps your business moving. Want to see how a true default deny strategy works? Head over to securityweekly.com/threatlocker and take the first step towards shutting the door on threats before they even knock. All right, it's the Security Weekly News. I'm Doug White. Hit that like and subscribe button and leave a comment, or I will keep hosting Paul's Security Weekly, and you'll never see Paul again. Well, except for on old episodes and at his job and down at the pier and that soccer field on Amsterdam Avenue. I think you can see him there. And at Radio Shack, you might see him there too. Yeah, it's possible. Are there still Radio Shacks? I don't know. All right. Now, in television shows, the PI always has to silence the alarm before they illegally break into the building, and they cut the wires on a control box that's conveniently hung on an outside wall at about average height, maybe a little stepladder kind of thing, depending on how athletic your actor is. But to cut endpoint detection is a lot harder. I mean, that's why there's never any film noirs about breaking into PCs. They don't have them because, it's boring. It's like they sit there for hours. But this new method is called EDR-Freeze, and it's been shown in a proof of concept that you can push endpoint security into hibernation from user mode if you use the Windows Error Reporting System, which is called WER, I don't know how you say it. So this researcher, 2713, which is used WER with another API called mini dump write dump, and found a way to indefinitely suspend the activity of endpoint detection and response, as well as the antivirus processes on a PC running Windows. Now, this is a new approach because all the previous ones were all basically required a vulnerable kernel driver, and this is this bring your own driver attack, and you had to exploit that kernel driver and so forth. Now, EDR-Freeze doesn't use that kernel driver. It's stealthy. It doesn't require the driver. It runs in user mode, and it uses legitimate Windows components that are always present by default on the system in order to function. And there's this very long article giving you all the grim details of how this works if you're interested in that. But Microsoft said, quote, "Customers using Microsoft Defender are not impacted by this tool, and any attempt will be detected and blocked before execution," end quote. I mean, it's a pretty scary thing if somebody can do this, and I don't know how much I trust this statement by Microsoft, although I presume they tested it, and probably they will come up with a patch pretty soon. But it's definitely something to think about where people start building in things like this that would shut down or suspend endpoint detection. So you may want to, review your security in depth model a little bit. It is interesting. Now, I did a case once where the IT people were opening employees' email, and they had a kind of weekly pool for things that they thought were funny. That was like they posted these on the wall, and they made fun of people, and they had pictures of people, copies of people's emails posted all over the IT unit. And they were basically laughing about this person eating disorder like that was all over the walls, and this person happened to come over there to get like laptop support and saw their pictures and stuff on the walls, and yeah, they all got fired. Well, having emails though from a company and being able to access those is a pretty valuable piece of intel. And this attack set up a situation where an offsite entity could actually do that. So the way they did it was an NPM package that was a fork of an official package called Postmark-MCP, was on GitHub. It went rogue, this fork, not the original, but the fork. It went rogue because the latest update added a single line of code to the otherwise legitimate repository, which would exfiltrate all of the user who had this on their system's email communications. Now, you may be thinking this is an elaborate attack, but it's not. Basically, the dev looked legitimate. The package was a perfect replica of a real one, and it had appeared as an official port on NPM for 15 iterations. Now, Josh and I were talking about MCP back on one of our vacation shows, and basically, Model Context Protocol allows AI agents to interact with all sorts of things, and Postmark is an email delivery platform. And so obviously some people are wanting their AI agents to talk to their email delivery platform and be able to send emails, right? So Postmark MCP exposes all those postmark functions to an AI assistant, which means you could say something like, Major dear, take a letter. Dear old man Sprockets, see you in hell. Sincerely, Henry Weatherfordshire, Esquire. And your friendly AI assistant, Majel, can then send these emails on your behalf. Koi Security found this thing, and they found a single line in it that basically all it did was it put a BCC, a what does that stand for? Blind copy, whatever, a
Blind carbon
BCC.
copy.
Blind carbon copy, thank you, Josh, to an email address at something called giftshop.club. That's all it took. And every single email that was in there that was sent was going to an outside interest. So if you downloaded Postmark MCP from NPM, it is recommended to remove it immediately. I think you need to, this whole show is just all these things, and you need to pretty much develop a process for A, understanding what's there, B, how you allow these things to be installed, and C, how do you monitor these things when they're actually in use, because it's not going to be long before you've got users wanting to put AI agent controls with their emails, or it doesn't matter if it's email, it could be anything. And this is how easy something like that is to get an infection started and start collecting your corporate emails. Yeah. And as long as we're after repositories, I just kept putting them up because there were so many stories this week about it. GitHub is certainly no exception to this. A new phishing campaign is targeting GitHub users with crypto drainers, which are delivered via fake invites to the Y Combinator W 2026 program. If you don't know what that is, Y Combinator is a startup accelerator that funds and mentors projects in their early stages. Yeah. So that's pretty appealing, right? And here's how they did it. The attacker abused the GitHub notification system to deliver these messages. Basically, they did this not with some elaborate vulnerability, but basically what they did was they created things, put the people they wanted in those things, and then created issues about those things. And that targeted the users. So basically, when an account name is mentioned in an issue, GitHub automatically sent a notification to those users. And, so you get an email from GitHub, it's actually the GitHub email address inviting you to a money tornado that says you're invited to the winter 2026 batch application for YC funding, and you may get $15 million. A lot of people are going to click this bait, right? Especially if you're targeting startups and people that may, they had some reason. They just blanket target everybody. They had very specific people targeted. And the goal, of course, was to drain their digital wallets. And the targets were both people that seemed likely to have wallets, as well as people likely to click the bait. Of course, these fraudulent repositories have since been removed, and it's unclear if anyone actually got their pocket picked, but certainly a possibility. There's a lot more details about this one in the article as well. But look, couple things. One, we've got to get better at this non-repudiation. Who sent this email and how can we be sure it's legit? Also, don't have hot wallets. Please. I mean, I think I'm going to start whining about this as much as I whine about private VLANs and exposed management interfaces. But I mean, don't put all your money in a hot wallet and stick it on your machine and then go to mrfufu.com because you're going to get your pocket picked. It's like telling people don't carry big bags of cash that have dollar signs on them down to Times Square on, at 3 a.m. It's just asking for it. So, look, hot wallets are really under threat, and you could lose those 10 Bitcoins that you and Lou did not actually manage to buy in 2007. Damn, I wish we'd bought those Bitcoins. I think all of us are pretty well aware that WordPress has its issues, right? We could probably WordPress is by its nature is problematic because it's a quick way for people to put up websites, but here there be dragons. You got users sticking up websites. They don't necessarily have any controls or security training. They don't scan these things and they tend to persist for long periods of time. A lot of companies have old WordPress sites sitting around. We've seen them in pen tests. We were scanning and it's like, did you realize there's like 35 of these WordPress sites that are still here? Some of them haven't been updated in 10 years and they're still up. Well, this is a backdoor that uses two files disguised as legitimate utilities that allow the backdoor to maintain a malicious admin account on WordPress, according to Security. The files that are in play are called debugmaster.php, which is in the plugins folder, and wpuser.php, which is in the root directory. And these things allow them to maintain persistence because Debug Master is used to initially create a help account. So when you first set up the site, this Debug Master PHP script creates a help account and it generates credentials for said account. And it sends these credentials with the server's IP address to the attacker because it was supposed to be being sent to the developer. But if you tweak it a little bit, guess with that other file, it causes it to send it somewhere else. It also just happens to, this is the pretty clever part of it. It injects malicious code into the WordPress site itself so that it only displays this account to certain parties, but admin users and other users whose IP addresses are listed here in that system are all blocked. So they don't even see this. So it's like, I don't know what you're seeing up there, Jim, but down here it looks just fine. Maybe lay off the Romulan ale for a couple of days and see if it clears up. On the wing, damn it, Jim. There aren't any wings on that thing, and there's no such things as monsters on the wings of DC-6s in the Star Trek universe. Come on. Maybe quit sniffing those used lithium cartridges for a while. I wish I could. I can't do voices. I need to be able to do McCoy's voice. Damn it, Jim. Is it that Georgia voice or whatever? But anyway, my point is you need to carefully review these easy to create sites to see if they're in your enterprise or connected to your enterprise, or maybe even on the wing of your enterprise. Or you may track the Regillian space rash known as Riker's curse. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we all know about that. And I just came back from Las Vegas. Now, I think all we're doing today is bashing repository sites, but here's another one. So the Python Software Foundation warned users to reset their credentials after discovering that a new phishing campaign was targeting the Python package index, or PyPI as we all call it. And they were getting users to link to a fake page that asks you to reset your credentials. Okay, wait. Just give me a second here. I have to sort of breathe deeply and in, out. So PyPI sends you a letter telling you to reset your credentials because a letter has been out that's telling you to reset your credentials about your credential resets. And then, you want space-time anomalies and non-Euclidean geometry? This is how you get space-time anomalies and non-Euclidean geometry and holodecks with portals to the 1920s and such. I mean, this literally happened. And we were talking on Paul's Security Weekly, and I was saying, please stop sending out stuff to your users that looks like scams. I mean, literally, you send out something saying you need to click here to reset your credentials because somebody else told you to reset your credentials and click here. And so click here, please. I mean, I don't know what to do about it. I wish I did. I'd start a company, get some of that fancy startup funding, and off to the races. But, I mean, PyPI sent a letter to people telling them to reset their credentials. If you have PyPI credentials, you may want to do that. But the other letter that said the same thing was phishing. And then a wormhole opened in the Planck space-time foam and sucked the whole universe in. And this is why we can't have nice things. Somebody needs to go clean the holodeck filters now. That's a lot of Star Trek jokes today. Must be because of a new season of Strange New Worlds or something. I don't know. But I was really, really hung up on Star Trek today. I think I've covered like quite a few different ones at this point. Now, I could not talk about this. Raspberry Pi has unveiled a fully loaded version of its computer and a keyboard that has more RAM, an SSD, and a nice mechanical keyboard, and even a monitor. But it costs, wait for it, a startling $200. I think it's $293 if you get the monitor. It's a light-up mechanical keyboard with a Raspberry Pi inside of it. My Corsair keyboard cost almost as much as this entire thing. Literally. I mean, the whole thing is based on Debian Linux and it has LibreOffice preloaded, and they did a whole bunch of tests to see if the performance was there. And they did say opening 50 tabs of Google Maps pretty much depleted all the memory. I'm like, yeah, I got 256 gigs on this desktop right here. And 50 tabs of Google Maps is pretty bad. They did say 100 tabs of the register was fine though. So, the $113 model had 8 gigs of RAM and no SSD, so you could, I guess, add to it if you wanted to. But the $200 one had 16 gigs of RAM, a 256 gigabyte SSD, and that nice mechanical RGB keyboard. You did also have to buy the power supply and the video cable, though, and if you want the monitor, you had to add that in. I think I went and bought this before I told you about it because I wanted to be sure they didn't sell out. I think my total bill on it was $297 or something like that. And I got the monitor, the power cable, and the video cable. So, I mean, $200 a lot for a Raspberry Pi historically, but this seemed really nice. And I really wanted to try it and see, could this serve as like a, sort of something I put on my kitchen table, to manage my house systems and read the news or something like that. I did order it. I will let you know what it like. I thought they might have sent me one for free by now, me being an international man of leisure and mystery and an influencer, but no Raspberry Pi. So anyway, I had to get in line with all the schnooks and order one myself, seriously. But I also found a brown M&M in the bowl, and I had to burn my trailer down. That's how we roll at Security Weekly Diva Edition. And that's when I was hosted Paul's Security Weekly on Wednesday night, I mean, it was like I set the whole place on fire because of that brown M&M. It was just ridiculous. Why do I have to put up with this crap? Black Mirror just thought they were predicting the future. I think all the Black Mirror stuff is coming true much faster than anybody ever imagined. I mean, so this one is a kind of Black Mirror episode. Basically, and the Chinese government's done this kind of stuff before, but the Chinese government is going after people who post depressing things. Can we be far behind? I'm bored. No, you're not. You're excited to see a brave new program to reduce taxes for billionaires. Say it or you go to prison. You're a terrorist. And my head hurts, my feet stink, and I don't love Jesus. No, you don't. You're overjoyed at the productivity levels obtained in the truck manufacturing sector this month. Yep. China's Cyberspace Administration launched a 2-month campaign to curb social media posts that are, quote, excessively exaggerate negative and pessimistic sentiments with a goal to, quote, rectify negative emotions and, quote, create a more civilized and rational online environment. Yeah, I see where this is going. I think Dear Leader has gone off their rocker. No, you haven't. You love Dear Leader and want Dear Leader to guide you to a more firmly down the path to truth with these cattle prods. There's no longer any room for criticism or negativity. That's all terrorist crap. Everything is beautiful. I am beautiful. The girls are beautiful. Even the orchestra is beautiful. Leave all your troubles outside because inside, well, everything is beautiful. Speaking of beautiful people in 1930s Berlin, Josh once played Rosie the trombonist at an all-nude cabaret revival at the Maple Leaf Bar. Hi, Josh.
Look. It was, yeah, but it was really artistic. Okay, come on.
It was. All those back, position 7.
No comment at all. And it was a rusty trombone, but anyway, so
Oh,
I couldn't resist.
I knew you were going there.
It's good to see you on a Friday for once. It's kind of intriguing.
It's good to see you anytime.
So Aaron and I have switched Tuesdays and Fridays. I'll be doing Fridays from now on. But my article is, oh, this is cool. Okay, so a lot of you have known about CMMC, the Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification, that replaced or is replacing, or we're in the middle of replacing, all of the 171, 800, 171 self-assessments for the DIB, the Defense Industrial Base. Is that going to become the WIB, the War Industrial Base? So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. But it's all wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. So the DAO or the DOE or the DUH, I don't know, the Department of War has now released a new thing, which is the Cybersecurity Risk Management Construct, the CSRMC. What this is, and this just came out the other day, September 24th, so a couple days ago. This is a new replacement of the Risk Management Framework, the RMF, which if you've done any work with the government, you know is a big monster thing. It's multiple NIST standards that are all munged together to be the RMF. The idea here is they need to use the RMF to find out what's the risk, what's going on, are you certified? This goes all the way from conception of we need XYZ service to an ATO, an authorization to operate. The new CSRMC, which they're talking about doing in an incredibly fast timeline, which is interesting, is going to be continuous ATO, continuous risk, continuous compliance, continuous security. This is, and I've been talking about continuous compliance and continuous security for years now. Doug can testify to that because I'm annoying as crap about it. But the whole thing is that this is going to be ongoing, automated, continuous everything. So if you think about how development changed once we came up with the idea of the CI/CD pipeline, this is the exact same concept applied to security and compliance. So your firewall log entries, your SIEM queries, your everything is going to be assessed on a daily, weekly, monthly, whatever basis. It's not going to be once a year or even once every 6 months. They're talking about having this done on a regular, short period basis. What's that going to mean effectively? Well, number one, doing this at the same time that 42 CFR, which is the law of CMMC, just got made into law literally a few weeks ago. It's just about to become enforced, I think, in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I don't remember. Means that adding this to the table is going to be a huge, confuser, to be very honest with you. It's going to be very, very difficult for people to handle both of these massive changes at the same time. So I foresee some confusion and some trauma, okay? A lot of PTSD in the trenches, if you will. But on the other hand, the idea of moving to continuous compliance and continuous security, I've been saying we need to do this for years now. We have to. Now, the only thing they left out, and I think they left it out, was supply chain risk management. In other words, can I assess continuous compliance, continuous security of all my supply chain partners? Now, for the Department of War, for the federal government, that's in there because they're going to be able to see, hey, we're coming in for our continuous ATO, authorization to operate. If you don't pass this ATO, you shut down. We do not pay you for the service. Oh, okay. So you don't get a time to do once a year. Oh God, let's get the stuff ready for the audit. No, it's every week, every month, every day, depending. There's going to have to be automation and dashboards, and the government is basically going to go dashboard, green, oh, red. Let's go talk to them. Maybe there's a valid reason. Maybe it's because a new patch came out and you're in the middle of rolling it out. That's fine. That's totally cool. You're red until the patch finishes deploying. But the reality of this is going to be very, very awkward because if you're a prime contractor, and I realize I'm talking about mostly FedGov contracting, but This is going to roll down. It almost always does. This is going to roll down to state, local, and education, the SLED market. This is going to roll down to commercial. This is going to roll down pretty quickly, I think, because this is something that's way overdue. But here's the thing. If you're a prime contractor, now in FedGov land, we speak of prime and subs, right? Prime contractor and subcontractors. If you're a prime contractor and you know that you can get assessed by the federal government any day of the week, any week of the month, any month of the year, not just once a year, but anytime, you're going to want to know that your subs are actually compliant, aren't you? And if you want to know that, well, you better have the accessibility to your subs' security and compliance information in order for you to know that. They're going to have to make it open to the primes and to the other subs in their line, in their value chain, right? I think commercial companies, commercial enterprises, the big ones, at least at the start, are going to be like, we'd like that too, please. Thank you very much. And so you're going to start seeing large customers insisting, I need to know how compliant you are and how secure you are on a day-to-day basis. It's not going to be, I send you a vendor risk assessment questionnaire once a year anymore. I mean, you send it out, they lie on it, and you get it back. Okay. It's going to be, I want to know every day how secure you are and how compliant you are. This is the first shot. This is the first shot fired across the bow. But I guarantee you it's going to be sinking a lot of companies in the next few years. So the question is, are you ready? Thank you, Doug.
You know what? I will tell you that it brought back all these memories of this stuff that was going on back in like the 90s that was called, it was like a live information system that companies were trying to develop where they had all these things called churn off faces and stuff on them that had like, yeah, churn off faces is this weird theory where you attach factors to various facial features, and these little cartoon guys are going, like our stock price. And
That's funny.
It was a very interesting, and we saw one at several large multinationals that had like all these red, green, and yellow lights and things like that. But I think the thing about this is going to be that there's also this whole stack, like you're talking about, so that when Verstgestellung, sausage delivery to the airbase is not certified, that red light is going to go up the ladder until, Ramstein Air Base has got a red light and the Air Force has a red light, and I don't even know what's going to happen. So all that stuff didn't really work out back then either, because it had a lot of, I don't know, there was just a lot of problems with it. But I know this, that I saw this big one, and when you walk in the morning and there's 150 faces on this giant screen and they're all going, it's probably bad. So I don't know, but there was an interesting theory. I knew somebody who did their dissertation about churn off faces and all this kind of stuff. It was pretty weird. So if you've never seen them, it's a fun thing to look up. Thank you, Josh. Like, as headlines are wont to do, I couldn't resist because of the headline. Experts urge caution about using ChatGPT to pick stocks. I was like, experts? You really need an expert to tell you that? I mean, I mean, you got an LLM that's trained to be a sycophantic admirer of you, that has a strong tendency to lie about how you look in skinny jeans, and they're going to be trusted to make stock picks. I mean, the story said that 1 in 10 retail investors now consult ChatGPT or other AI chatbots for stock picks. This was from Reuters. And the data showed that about 13% of 11,000 retail traders on eToro were doing just this. Now, I mean, this is not algorithmic trading, even though it's kind of presented that way. Algorithmic trading is this automated trading algorithms that, big trading houses develop so that they can do thousands and thousands of trades a second and screw the whole market up. But it's basically like asking that guy in the locker room that kind of likes you in a creepy way what they think you should do with $5,000 your grandmother left you. And, and they go, folks, there's trouble right here in River City, and it starts with an S and it rhymes with a P, and all that stands for penny stocks, and you need to get on board before you miss the train. I mean, I get it. People love getting advice, and they love getting advice from LLMs, and they're using these for all kinds of advice. So it's not just stock trading. It's going to be stuff at your enterprise where they're asking for guidance with their jobs. They're asking for all kinds of things, and they're asking for dinner advice from something that only eats electrons, psych counseling for something that has no psyche. I mean, I don't trust it. Buy dry ships. It's dry. It ships. What could go wrong? It's trading at an all-time low. Dry ships. Why I can't retire. But now, your big chance is here. Come on down to Doc McKee's Guaranteed Stock Market Big Shot Trading Advice before you're overdrawn at the memory bank. Yeah. It was a weird day. Multiple Broadway musical references, multiple Star Trek series references, I think a Blade Runner reference in there, a parting shot at Philip K. Dick, and Josh took one for the team by having to put up with me today on a Friday. But I'm Doug White, and that's the news, and we'll see you next time on the Security Weekly News.